And we are live. So, hi everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of the Storytold Podcast. We help founders tell their stories, and I am Annika Wright, one of the writers here at Storytold. And today we are joined by the incredible Ari Barmapov. Welcome to the podcast, Ari. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Is lagging a little bit, but thank you so much for the kind introduction. It's great to be here. I'm very excited.
Amazing. Super looking forward to finding out a little bit more about you and what you do. And I know you're going to give our viewers some incredible advice today, especially on cold calling. We all dread them sales outreach calls. So really looking forward to getting some advice from you. So
They're not
Ari,
that bad.
I fear them a lot. So Ari, how did you end up in sales, and what's one lesson that completely changed how you approach cold outreach?
Oh, getting started to have you right off the bat, I see. All right. Well, I guess that I really started in sales. I'd like to consider my first experience in sales was when I was very young. I was probably 7 or 8 years old in a Toys R Us, which is a toy store in North America. And I was in the toy store with my grandfather, and I asked, "Can I get that toy?" And he said, "No, Ari, I'm sorry, I can't afford that toy." I said, "Well, how much can you afford?" And he said, $1. I said, "Okay. Well, if you put aside $1 every day for 30 days, then we can get that toy. How does that sound?" And he started laughing. So I always joke that was my first experience
Wow.
in sales. So in my first role, it was a real hard-nosed role where I was expected to cold call, make 100 dials a day, and just get through it every single day and get told no on a regular basis, which that was my first experience with it. And really in my first corporate role, it was trial by fire. There was no such thing as a BDR. It was full cycle. I had to cold call, find my own clients, and close them as well. So I was expected to do everything.
You were kind of thrown in at the deep end there by the sounds of it then, like just all them cold calls. And how was that for you? How taking all the no's all the time?
It was hard. It was very hard at first, and it was something that you had to get used to. And it was a bit of a culture shock because coming from retail where everyone was planning on being there, and you're speaking to people who want to be there and who are looking for something, to trying to generate demand out of thin air on your own.
Wow.
And it really got me understanding certain words not to say, like and just, while speaking, and how that affected people's impressions of you on the phone. And as well, it gave me a first look into how important tonality was and the words that you say.
Thank you for all that, Ari. So jumping straight on to question 2 here. So cold calls can often feel quite transactional, but Storytold is all about the narrative. How can salespeople craft a cold call that actually aligns with the brand's storytelling values? What would your advice be here?
A lot of people, when they're doing cold calls, one thing that they really try to focus on is themselves and what they're selling and what they're doing, and trying to talk as fast as humanly possible in order to get their message across. And people on the other end, they don't appreciate it that much. So after my introduction, the first thing that I like to do is give a problem statement. So for ourselves, I say, you know what, we've been speaking with a lot of technical founders. They're amazing at building incredible products. But when it comes to sales and business development, not that great at it, especially sales process and strategy. Usually what they'll do is they'll go and try to hire a lead gen agency. That's never successful.
Okay.
But that's where we come in. So I'm going and I'm telling the story of, I know your material experience. I know what you're going through here. And I tell a story of what they've gone through, and they start nodding along with you. And then after you tell that story, you come in and you show yourself as the Merlin of the story. A lot of people think that you're the main character, and you're not the main character. You're the one who has Excalibur, and you want to give them Excalibur so they can be the hero of their story.
I absolutely love that. And that's what we're all about at Storytold. It's connecting with the customer first, isn't it? Before just saying, I can do this and I can do that. We want to connect with the client or the customer beforehand, before, like you said, coming in and being kind of like the superhero of what we can actually do for you. And that is what it's all about, really. So thank you so much. And that is such great advice on how to approach these scenarios and selling. Can you share an example where a story-driven cold call worked better than a scripted pitch?
Absolutely. So, no, not a problem. So going back to that example that I had just spoken about, that was a pivot that I had made when I developed our script internally, where we had previously gone with more of a tailored pitch of, hey, this is what we do, this is the problems that we solve. And it really didn't resonate and it didn't hit. And the things that I kept on hearing was, we've tried a lead gen agency before and we didn't have a good experience. It doesn't work. So it was confusing what we did with the lead gen agency, first of all, and then saying that lead gen agencies don't work. And so that was the narrative that we kept on hearing over and over and over again. And when we transitioned into a different form of messaging where we were getting in front of the objection that we knew they were going to say and wrapping that within a story, it resonated much more deeply, and people would even start laughing. They would start engaging in conversations about, yeah, it's exactly what happened. And it was a very different feel. It changed it from a pitch to a conversation.
Yeah. Amazing. And that's how you connect, isn't it? With just having the regular conversations rather than just selling straight from the off. You've got to have that connection, haven't you?
That's exactly it.
Honestly, that's such great advice. And I think it's something we all need to learn to do to get them clients on board. So what's the number one mistake people make in cold calls that accidentally damages their brand reputation in your experience?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that people do on a call that they don't even realize that they're doing is the tonality that they're using when approaching somebody on the phone. When we're training people, the go-to that they'll have is to go and speak in an even tone voice and act like they're reading a script and just say the words that are on the screen. And then the person is going to ask them a question and they're going to look up and they're like, uh-huh. And then they're going to keep on reading their script and keep on doing this and just going with it and just having a monotone voice that no one can. It's like, well,
just stop talking.
Just stop talking. Just stop. Just stop for a second. I want you to imagine that you're speaking to a good friend of yours and you're telling your good friend about this amazing, amazing product. The example that I like to give is, pretend you're telling a friend about a restaurant that you went to. And you ask the friend, have you ever heard of X, Y, and Z restaurant? And they say, no, I haven't. Are you going to go right into it? It's like, well, they have hamburgers and they have French fries and they have corn and they have salads and they have beer, and like, are you going to go through it like that? No, the speech patterns doesn't make sense there.
Yeah.
What's the normal progression of that conversation, of what you say to that person when you ask them if they've been there and they say no?
I love that. Honestly,
what do you think, Annika, is the main progression of that conversation? What's the next thing that you say?
I'm not interested. I'm not. If somebody's talking me on a script, I'm not interested. I'm not going to go there. You're just listing a load of things off in a monotone voice that I'm not interested. But if you're excited and you're talking to me as just a general conversation and you sound excited about going there, I want to go there.
For sure. But if you're asking somebody that if they've been to a certain restaurant and your friend tells you back, no, I haven't been to the restaurant.
Yeah.
What's the next line? What's the next thing that you'll say to them?
That they haven't been. You should go there because they've got this, they've got that, it's everything. What's good about the restaurant? I want to know what's good about it.
You'll probably say something along the lines of, oh my gosh, I can't believe you haven't been there. This restaurant is amazing. Right?
Yeah.
That's normally what people will go and say. They won't just go and list things off. They'll start talking it up and they'll say, oh my goodness, I can't believe you haven't been there before. And it gets people hyped up and you start leaning in and you start wanting to engage in that conversation. And it's the same thing when if you were to ask someone, especially if you're from a big brand and you're like, have you heard of so and such company? And they're like, no, I have. And you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that I get the opportunity to introducing you to this company. That's exciting.
And that's the difference, isn't it? If you're just monotone and not excited about something, I'm going to switch off straight away. But if you're excited about something and you're telling me the good things and why I need to go there, I'm excited and I also want to go there. And that's the difference, isn't it? Than you just sitting there reading monotone off a script. I'm just switching off at this point. I'm not listening. And that is the big difference. And I think that's something we all need to learn when it comes to either cold calling or selling and selling your brand, is being excited about it and finding out what the client needs rather than just swooping in and being like, I can do this and I can do that.
That's exactly it. And going a step further, the way that you present yourself and the energy that you give off during a cold call is the energy that the person on the other end is going to receive. And that will translate in your voice. And as long as you're bringing that positivity within the conversations, within the calls, you are going to get so much more positivity back. Because you know what? It's really hard to be a jerk to a person that's really happy.
I love that. That end quote that is so true. If somebody's giving you positivity, you're just going to give it back. It just feeds and it grows and it just makes you want to be happy rather than it. Like you said, it's so hard to be miserable or anything with somebody who's giving off such positive energy, and I love it. And that's what we're all about here at Storytold. It's just that positive energy. So how do you balance being persistent without crossing into that like kind of pushy territory? Is there like a magic rule, like a 3-call rule, or does it depend?
So that's a really good question. And the way that you avoid being too pushy by calling too much is by multi-threading. And what that means is that you're going to want to diversify the different avenues that you're reaching out to that person. And you want to recognize the previous avenue that you use. So what I mean by that is that you call them, you leave them a voicemail, then you send them an email a couple days later and you reference, hey, I actually sent you a voicemail. I don't know if you got that. I was trying to get a hold of you about X, Y, and Z. And then, maybe you'll send them a LinkedIn message. You'll say, hey, I actually tried sending you off an email. I don't know if you got it or not. Might have ended up in your spam folder, but wanted to bring this up to the top of your inbox. If you present yourself as someone that simply wants to get in touch with someone and arrange some time to just speak with them and not pitch them, and you're trying to see where they live and where they, not physically, but realistically, like where they enjoy communicating with people.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out what's the best method to communicate with them, then it's going to come across as such. Whereas if you're calling them 5-10 times, then it's going to come across as pushy, and they're going to keep seeing the same number come up on their phone again and again and again and again, and that will annoy someone.
Honestly, that's exactly me. If I get an unknown caller ringing me, it's straight decline and it's straight to voicemail. And you'll see they keep ringing, and you just assume it's spam, don't you? You don't listen to the voicemails. You don't ring back. I'll just click decline. So that's such good advice that I would never have thought of, is to just try different avenues. Because me personally, I'm more of a message person. Whereas if you message me on LinkedIn, I'll message back. So just making sure that you use different avenues is such a good way of looking at things. And yeah, that's brilliant advice, that, Ari. Really good advice. I like that.
I appreciate that.
So the next one, let's have some fun with this one. So
All right.
Just off the bat here. So if cold call was a movie genre, what would it be? Horror, rom-com, what you thinking, and why?
It would 100% be a romantic comedy.
I love this.
100% without question would be a romantic comedy. I have compared cold calling to talking to people in bars that you don't know many, many times. If you go up to a person that you talk to in a bar and you approach that person, male or female, doesn't matter who, and you have a horrible opener, you don't use observation to let them know something that you observed about them that you appreciated or you liked, and you just went straight for the close, I'm going to tell you, not from personal experience, but I could take a guess that it's probably not going to work. Like 99% of the time.
No.
You ask, I mean, you could absolutely go up to someone and ask them, hey, do you want to come home with me? And, maybe you'll get someone who's going to say yes. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Depends on how good looking you are.
Have you ever got that lucky, Ari?
No, I've been with my wife for 15 years and I'm very happily married. I have not done that in a very, very, very long time. But that being said, it's the same with a cold call. Yeah. If you get on a call with someone and you just say right off the bat, my name's Ari from X, Y, and Z, you want to book a meeting with me, they're probably going to tell you no.
Yeah. So,
and that's why it's a romantic comedy.
And honestly, I absolutely love that. You were straight in with the answer there. It was like, honestly, what a great example that is. It's true. You've got to go in with like some form of what I noticed about you, what I liked about you, rather than just, are you coming home with me tonight? It's not going to work.
Probably not.
Oh, I love that. So how do you flip a cold call from a pitch to a genuine conversation that actually builds trust with somebody?
Very easily. You do that the second that they ask a good question. The second that the person on the other line is asking a good question, you throw the script out the window and you start having a conversation with them. And it's really as simple as that.
As simple as that. That's the best answer, straight to the point, and that's the answer. So another one. So I'm going to do a hypothetical here. So if you had to cold call a celebrity, who would it be and what would you pitch? What would your pitch be?
So as some of you may have noticed who are watching this, I am wearing an acquisition.com hat. And I am a very big fan of Alex Hormozi. And while I wouldn't do this, because I don't think it would be quite relevant to him at the moment, given the next book that he's looking to come out with, but hypothetically, I would cold call Alex Hormozi and offer to help with some of his acquisition.com clients to help him manage some of the scaling from a sales standpoint.
Love that. We're going to be tagging him in this podcast. So hopefully, Ari, we're going to have our fingers crossed.
Hey, Alex, if you watch this podcast and you see this and you see the acquisition.com hat, you know what? Hit me up. Just, you got my number. Just hit me up whenever. I'll fly down to Vegas. We'll get some froyo. It's going to be great. I'll even wear a nose strip.
Ari's your guy. His link's in the comments. Hook him up. So, Ari, I'm going to ask you one more question. So, what's your golden rule for cold calling in a way that enhances your brand instead of hurting it?
Tonality, tonality, tonality. It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. If you approach the call as one human to another human, you've done your research, and you know that, generally speaking, the people on the other end of the call are going to appreciate and are going to benefit from the services that you have. If you approach it as such, with intention and being genuine, then that is the best thing that you can possibly do, more than anything else in the world.
I absolutely love that. It's what we're all about here at Storytold. It's just connecting and listening and just going on that human connection rather than just straight in on the sales. And it's just, you're not going to get anywhere. Nobody pays attention to them LinkedIn generic messages that we all get, about 50 a day, them generic emails. Just have a human conversation with somebody and connect with them on a deeper level to be able to find out how you can help each other. And honestly, the information you've given us today, Ari, has been absolute gold. So thank you so much for coming on. And for anyone that's listening, Ari, where can we find you? On LinkedIn? What platforms are you on?
LinkedIn is the best way to get a hold of me. I post twice a day, every day, 7 days a week. So if you're interested in getting a hold of me, feel free to send me off a message on LinkedIn. That's preferably not a pitch slap. Don't like those. But any questions with regards to what I spoke with today, if you want to learn more and you have any questions and you'd like me to elaborate, I'm more than happy to do that.
Thank you so much for your time today, Ari. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We will share Ari's details in this LinkedIn post, and we hope you enjoyed our podcast with Ari today. So thank you so much. And we will see you hopefully on the next episode of the Storytold Podcast. So again, thank you, Ari. And yeah, everyone hit Ari up, preferably not with a sales pitch.
And if you do, I'll be sure to go and criticize it and let you know what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Ari. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching the Storytold Podcast. We're going to see more business owners on here every couple of weeks. And in the meantime, if you want to get in touch, we can grow your brand with our LinkedIn storytelling. Come to us and we'll get your story told.